Elliot? See you. Got to get the vice. It really is. I'm glad we did that. And these guys are running. You know what you're doing? You know what you're doing with it? I appreciate all the work y'all put on it. Good morning and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. It is Friday, December 1st. Wow, we're already at that last month. Christmas is right around the corner. So I'm so glad everyone's here today. Great to see all of y'all smiling faces. If you would, please join me in welcoming Jason Ellis to the stage for our invocation, followed by Henry Barbola playing the national anthem. Fantastic.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the gift of another day and another opportunity to share lunch with friends and colleagues. May we appreciate the treasure that it is to gather and share our lives with one another. We pray for those in our world that are experiencing pain, bloodshed, and conflict, specifically in Israel. May those that are suffering find comfort. Equip good to overcome evil, that we may have peace across the globe. We pray that your truth, your compassion, your goodness, and your righteousness would prevail. Elevate servant leaders in our homes and in thrones, that we live life as imagers of you, loving our neighbors as ourselves. We ask that you be with the servant hearts in this room. Bless our efforts as we strive to love our neighbors within our own community. We pray for wisdom and discernment, that we may see and know your truth, so that we may do your good will. Help us to seek your will and not our own. Bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies, and bless the many hands that have prepared and served it. As we go forth, grant us a spirit of gratitude and thankfulness for your grace and for your many blessings. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Henry. Great rendition. I'd like to introduce Akua Ananful. How do you pronounce your name? Ayanful. Akua Ayanful for a visitor welcome, please. Gosh, put me off on that.
Thank you, President Kirk. Thank you, fellow Rotarians, and welcome this afternoon. I'd like to introduce our guests for today. Today we have Garrett Pearson, guest of Derek Moffat from World Relief. Lorenzo Pablo, guest of Derek Moffat from Catholic Charities. Russell Jacobson, guest of Michael Crane. And we have a few visiting Rotarians. So we have the past District Governor, Peter Scott. Joining him today is his son, Joseph Scott. All right, and then we have Jim Bowes from Edmond, Oklahoma, visiting Rotarian. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, Akua. So I'd like to acknowledge we have a sponsor today, Farlow Media. Thank you for your sponsorship. Where are you at, gentlemen? Right over here. Farlow Media is a Fort Worth-based full-service marketing agency. Farlow has one goal in mind, and that's to make you look good. Farlow Media is an award-winning agency with over 70 years of combined experience. Don't settle for ineffective marketing. Take your organization to the next level. Farlow Media, making you look good. Before we do the four-way test, thank you, Farlow Media. Sorry, thank you. There we go. All right. Before we go further, it's not on the schedule here, but I see Larry here. Did Rachel Marker make it in? Rachel here? No? So Rachel, Larry, and I all had the pleasure of, we just at 10 o'clock this morning attended the Fort Worth Police Department Lateral Class number 8 graduation. So wonderful experience, as always, to see these officers coming on. And I usually say these young officers. These are not. So the lateral classes, Fort Worth Police Department has a program where if you're an officer with another agency and want to transfer in, they have a shortened academy. Their academy up now is, I believe, 10 or 12 weeks as opposed to the standard 27 because they've learned most of the basic stuff. We just got to get them tooled to Fort Worth. They graduated 13 this morning, with a total already out of the box combined law enforcement experience of over 100 years. So Fort Worth Mayor Matty Parker on the stage or at the podium announced that within the next 2 years they plan to fully staff all of our vacancies in the Fort Worth Police Department, which right now are well over 100. So great job. Thank you. If I've got any city leaders here today, thank you all for your efforts in doing that. That means a lot to our community as we are the fastest growing city in the United States right now. We need that. So thank you. So next up is our four-way test. For our visitors with us today who are unfamiliar with this, the four-way test is something that every Rotarian strives to filter everything we do, think, or say through. If it doesn't meet the test, we try not to do, think, or say those things. So if you will, please repeat along with me. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now, in the club tradition, we throw that out the window for a moment or two. And I'd like to introduce Wesley Gentle for our newscast. Come on up, Wesley.
Wow. More clapping. I feel about as welcome as a bullet train stop in Arlington, Texas. That's how welcome I feel, thank you. To misquote an esteemed member of our club, this one is not about the news, it's about my feelings. And lately, I've been feeling overwhelmed by the news. It seems that every other hour, there's another breaking news story. In fact, Jim Austin just stopped me right before this, no joke, this isn't in my script, and told me breaking news, his museum has moved from the stockyards over to Dottie Lynn Parkway this week, so we'll get to all enjoy that at some point soon. We just broke the story here at Rotary in the newscast. Breaking news, it's all around us. It's as though a once-in-a-generation thing is happening every moment, and they've all skipped all these generations, and here they are happening right now today. But this overbearing feeling started for me in earnest last October while I was visiting Washington, D.C. I was there to discuss Fort Worth's role in a nationwide economic impact study of the nonprofit arts. And for those playing along at home, that number is $151.7 billion of direct impact in 2022, and $500 million of that right here in Cowtown. Yeah, that's worth applause. Just so happened to be that I was there shortly after the history-making vote that breaking news removed former House Speaker McCarthy. Just so happened to be the same day that the House made its breaking news first, more breaking news, unsuccessful attempt to get back to business. I don't know if it was the despondent look on the staffers' faces or the savage betting between lobbyists, but I left Washington a little bit jaded, deeply distressed. Fortunately, thanks to great federally funded research from agencies like the National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities and the National Institutes of Health, we have a strong and growing body of support for the efficacy of art therapies in reducing stress and trauma symptoms like the ones experienced by yours newscaster today. So I put these to test, tried my hand at these creative therapies, and processed my emotions through words and melodies. And I arrived at a salve for my fourth estate-induced hysteria that here before God and our district governor, I would like to share with you this cathartic ditty. Maestro? What's this? What's this? Jim Jordan wants to speak. What's this? They voted no times 3. Who's this? A nobody from nowhere, Louisiana got the job. Well, who is he? What's this? What's this? What's this? Another stopgap bill. What's this? A few more weeks to kill. What's this? The planet's greatest economic power waiting till the final hour as lawmakers moan and glower. What is this? What's this? George Santos wasn't lying when he said he'd get the hook. And 45 is testifying that he's not a crook. Joe Biden's son is arguing there is no smoking gun. And Charles Koch picked Nikki Haley over Governor Ron. Oh my, what now? Israeli-Hamas truce? Oh dear, why that looks so fragile. Admired, the president is skipping out on climate talks to warm by this ceasefire. What's this? What's this? What's this? Did someone say Ukraine? Oh no, McConnell might just freeze. What now? Something, something, something southern border. Is the U.S. out of order? There's a frown on everyone, so now correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't fun, this isn't fun. Oh, can we ever catch our breath? What's this? Oh. Oh my. What now? The wind knocked down a tree? Oh no, did Congress hear a sound? No words, no speeches here, no comments, and no selfies, only little ornaments from Texas children on the pavement. What's this? The monsters are all missing and the nightmares can't be found. Just kidding, they're on Twitter. I mean X, it's called X now. Senators are trading fisticuffs with union reps. And you know things are bad when Bernie Sanders is the ref. The threats, the fights, they're everywhere and all around. I've never felt so scared before. This empty place inside of me is growing vast. When will we all find peace at last? I want it, oh I want it, oh I want it for one day. Don't wanna know what is the breaking news right now? What is this? C-SPAN? I'll have to look into that. Weather this weekend will dip into the low 40s, but it will be warm at Open House at the Fort Worth's newest event venue, Blank Space, over in the Hanley neighborhood. It'll be warm in Stage West's opening weekend of performances of Port Clare in the near south side, and it'll be warm in Fort Worth's Historic Cultural District at the opening gallery reception for the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. Y'all have a great weekend and be well.
As always, brilliant, Wesley. That just amazing. Now, I'd like to introduce Elliot Goldman to come on up stage and tell us about the grants. Got some exciting news, don't we?
You gonna come up? Is Ashley here or not? Oh, okay, great. Ashley? Well, anyway, it's always great to see this many people coming out for my grant presentations. I love that. And Wesley's newscast. And District Governor, of course. So we have your board and grant committee have been hard at work. We had some great grants to grant this time, so we've got 4 today. The first is Becky Burton from Girl Scouts. $5,000 for take-home STEM testing kits for 100 girls. We're so excited about the program. So, Becky, thank you for all you do. Second grant is for NICA, which is the Northside Intercommunity Agency, $3,500 to provide scholarships for students enrolled in Northside Youth Collective Program. Brittany Thomas, the ED, is here, and we're excited to have her. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Dr. Ashley Elgin is here, and she is from Lena Pope Home. $5,000 grant helped to provide children of low-income families with high-quality early learning experience. The grant will qualify for matching funds, bringing our total charitable impact to $10,000. So super excited about that. And Dr. Elgin, thank you very much. And finally, Catholic Charities, we have Stacy Beecham, and the funds will go to purchase learning management software in their Career Training and Certification Center, so we're excited for that as well. Thank you for coming. Thank you, President Kirk.
Thank you. Thank you, Elliot. Congratulations to all our winners on these grants. What a wonderful thing that we can do, and thank you to each of you Rotarians for your contributions to our local endowments that make that possible. Next up, Secretary Maddie Compton for a couple of first and second readings. Madam?
Good afternoon. We have 2 first readings today. The proposed members are Michelle McQueen Bradley. Her title is Licensed Professional Counselor. Her company is Counsel 9:6. Her classification is counseling, and her proposer is Brad Nowlin. The second proposed member is Angelica Ramsey. Her title is Superintendent. Her company is Fort Worth Independent School District, classification education, and her proposer is Randall Fluke. We have 4 second readings today. The following proposed new members were submitted during the November 17th, 2023 program. If no objections are received through the voting process, the proposed member will be accepted into our club. The proposed members are Corbin Couch, Regional Vice President of Strategic Lending from Great Plains Bank. His classification is Banking Services, and his proposer is past President Mark Nurdin. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
Second, right here. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
He's hereby.
The ayes have it, and he is hereby elected. Welcome.
The second reading is Russell Jacobson, title Financial Planning Advisor, company Astoria Strategic Wealth. His classification is finance, and his proposer is Michael Crane. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second right over here. All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes carry it. He is hereby elected as a member. Welcome.
Number 3, Charles Larsdorf. His title is owner, his company is Realty Pro Shots, and his classification is real estate media. His proposer, Don Click. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
Do I have a second? Second. Don Click. All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes carry it. He is hereby elected. Welcome.
And last but certainly not least, Allison Ricks. Her title is President of the Allison's Ricks, Inc. Her classification, pharmaceutical sales, recruitment, and her proposer is Victor Neal. I move her election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
I have a motion, we have a second. Second. Second right over here. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes carry it. She is hereby elected. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now for the main event. I'd like to introduce immediate past president and assistant area governor, our very own Sean Snell, coming up to the stage and introduce our speaker of the day.
Thank you, President Kirk. Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our district governor, Pat Peters. She is a girl after my heart. She's super organized, super efficient, and she is here to definitely serve each and every one of you, all of us. This year, we are creating hope in the world. And Pat is originally from Austin, Texas, but she's lived in Denton for the past 42 years, since around 1981. She first learned about Rotary when she received a scholarship from the Rotary Club of Austin. And that took her to get her music degree from Southwestern University, which is where she also found a husband, Jeff, who's with her today. She has 2 subsequent master's degrees from UNT in English Literature and Library Science. She spent 25 plus years in library management as the director of the library in Louisville and then Decatur. And it was that move to Decatur that reconnected her with Rotary. In that capacity, living in Denton, she felt that she really needed to get integrated quickly with the community. And we would all say, we know how to do that. There's no better way to do that than to join the local Rotary Club. So she did that in 2013, and she held many, many roles there and within the district. She's been a RILA counselor, she's been the district literacy coordinator, assistant governor, district secretary, a Lone Star Pets facilitator. She's been a charter member of the District Vision and Planning Committee. She's a Paul Harris Fellow and Rotary Leadership Institute facilitator, and now she's our district governor. Her husband, Jeff, is a retired IT guy and musician. Come to the district events. They have the best music ever this year. They are active in Denton United Methodist Church. And I would, with that, like to introduce you to Pat. Please join.
Thank you so much. It is a joy to be here, and thank you for letting me take one of your valuable Friday afternoons to talk to you about what's going on across Rotary International and across our district. As Sean mentioned, my very first brush with Rotary was that scholarship that allowed me to go to Southwestern way back in the, and I have to tell you, we were all the scholarship recipients that year were invited to come to one of the meetings of the Downtown Austin Rotary Club. And I can tell you, for a shy 17-year-old woman to walk into a room of all the men in suits who were the movers and shakers of Austin business, that was a little intimidating. And I have to say, I thought it was a little odd that they would give me a scholarship, but they wouldn't let me join them. So, you know, I thought, thank you for your money, but obviously I can never be part of your group. But then thankfully, over the time, Rotary woke up and realized the other half of the population could join as well. So it really has been such a pleasure. I have a little bit over 10 years now of my Rotary life, and after several years, I thought it was time for me to step up and say, yes, I think I can make a contribution as district governor. So I put my name in. I was not selected the first time, but the second time I was. And so I knew that I was going to be governor this 23-24 Rotary year when Rotary International announced that Jennifer Jones would be the first woman president of Rotary International. I can tell you, I was so excited for Jennifer. Yes. I I was so very excited for Jennifer, and I was excited for the possibilities for Rotary, but I was just a little disappointed that it was not going to coincide with my year as governor. But then last year, let's see, this is not moving. There we go, perfect. No, not again. All right, that's great. When Jeff and I went to International Assembly last January, this is the final kind of intensive training that all the governors-elect from across the world attend and get to meet the president-elect of Rotary International and hear from them their priorities, their theme for the year, their initiatives, and what's going on for the coming year. When we heard from Gordon McAnally that his theme for this year was create hope in the world, I thought, well, okay, maybe it's all right that this is the year for me, because that spoke to me. That, to me, is exactly what we are, who we are, what we're called to be as Rotarians, is creating hope. As Gordon talked further, he spoke about how he had been on a service trip to an area where there had been extensive flooding, and a village was just completely wiped out. And he said that a woman came up to talk to him while he was out working with this group of Rotarians and told him that she had lost her entire home and her everything in it. She had lost her husband and her son in that flooding. But then she said to him, "Thank you for being here because you have given me back hope for the future." And that's how Gordon was inspired to come up with this theme of create hope in the world. And he talked about how all of the areas of focus we have in Rotary, whether it's building clean water systems or supporting basic sustainable economy, basic education and literacy, all of those things are helping us create hope for people. And he pointed to one of our areas of focus, promoting peace, as the thing that we are trying to do in all that we do through Rotary. As we do all of these other projects, we are giving people those basic needs in their lives so that they can then live in peace. They can know that they have a future possibility of being able to thrive and support their families and all of those things that we all want to do. So Gordon talked about how promoting peace is one of his initiatives for this year. So he encouraged us when we came back to our districts to think about how we could encourage clubs to be part of that effort. So we talked about one of the things that I did through my career was I spent several years as a children's librarian. And so I put together this children's reading list of books about peace. Some of these are about what peace looks like across the world, and others are for children to understand what it means for them to be peacemakers in their own lives, in their families, their communities, their schools, wherever they are. This list is on the district website, rotary5790.org. You can look at it there. All of these are still in print. So I would encourage you to consider placing a set of these in the elementary school libraries that you work with, in your local public library downtown or one of the branches or wherever you might consider. Children need to hear this message that they can be peacemakers if we have any chance of having children grow up to be peacemakers as adults. So I think we would all be better off if we gave our children this opportunity. Another consideration is the Positive Peace Academy. This is more of an individual thing that I would encourage you to look at. It's about a 2-hour online certification program put together by the Institute for Economics and Peace. And they have identified 8 pillars of positive peace. situations and factors that need to be present in a country, in a region, in order for peace to be possible. So that's what you learn through the Positive Peace Academy. If you'll go to positivepeace.academy/Rotary, you will find a free online program there. Don't forget that /Rotary, or they will ask you for money. Rotary International is collaborating to make this free for Rotarians so that more of us can become peacemakers in our own lives. And then finally, I'm encouraging clubs to consider placing peace poles and peace gardens in your community. One of the things that this does is just symbolically say, we're going to carve out a little part of our community that stands for peace. When people come through that space, they see that garden, they see that peace pole, they might just take a step back and think about peace for just a moment. So there are some clubs that are working with their school districts to place peace poles and peace gardens on school campuses. Others are looking at public spaces, public parks, library areas, city or county buildings, and others are considering if there has been a scene of violence or a tragic act in your community, by placing a peace pole or peace garden or both there, it's a way of saying we're not going to allow that violence or that tragic act to have the last word. We're going to reclaim that space for the community and for peace. So I urge you to consider this. There are folks in our district who would love to come talk to you about that, or I'm happy to share some information if you're interested in more about peace gardens and peace poles, or you can just take this idea and run with it. You don't have to do it one particular way. There is not one right way to do peace poles and peace gardens, but I'm happy to share information if you'd like. As Gordon continued talking about his initiatives and his priorities for the year, he talked about mental health. And he said we must end the stigma of talking about our mental health. He told the story of his best friend growing up who they did everything together. They were joined at the hip. They just had the best times growing up, going through all the way through school. Both of them went off to college, built their careers, had their families. It seemed that life was good. But at age 52, his friend took his own life. And Gordon said it came as a complete surprise because we don't talk about our mental health. He said no one knew what this young man was suffering, what he was going through, that must have made him make that decision to take his own life. Then he revealed that this was his younger brother, Ian. And that was the moment for me that I knew I was in the right place at the right time as governor for this year. My sister took her own life at age 42, and it was a very similar situation to what Gordon described. We didn't know because we don't talk about our mental health. That stigma, that taboo, you feel shame around not being able to just get it right. And yet, we all know that if it's a physical health malady, we know that we have to go get professional help. But when we talk about mental health, we don't necessarily make that leap. It's logic. So we're encouraging all of you to consider how you can help support positive mental health in your own life and in the lives of those around you. Instead of asking the usual, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. I want to encourage you to just ask the people around you, how are you really? Let them know, I'm here for you. I'd love to talk to you. I have time. And then go a little bit farther. The Rotary Action Group for Mental Health Initiatives has some toolkits that are available for you to consider. They are about raising awareness. They are about breaking the stigma, and they are about increasing capacity of the mental health system. So breaking the stigma is really just about getting people to talk. And for some of us, that is all we need. All we need is somebody that we can talk to about what's going on in our lives. We feel better. We know that once we've just gotten that out, it looks a little different sometimes. But then we also know that sometimes there are people who are truly in crisis. So I would encourage you to look at these toolkits. The easy way to find them is to Google. I know I'm a librarian, you're not supposed to say that, but I can also tell you that Rotary's website is not the easiest to maneuver around when you try to use site search, so it really is easier to just Google Rotary Mental Health Initiatives. Just be sure you're getting to Rotary when you click on your choice there. But all of these toolkits are available there. Raising awareness is one of those places where we can just make sure that everyone knows there is something that's called positive mental health. We all have mental health of some sort. Here are some things we can do to encourage positive mental health, both for ourselves and for others. And then finally, that increasing capacity. I don't know if you all have experienced this, but there are many places in the world and in our country and in our state in North Texas, where when someone needs mental health professional help, they have to get on a waiting list and wait 3, 6, 9 months in order to reach a mental health professional to get the kind of help they need. And you all know, people in crisis don't need to sit around waiting for the professional care team to be able to get to them. So we need to be advocating to increase the capacity of the mental health system and make sure that everyone recognizes mental health care is health care. Our young people, as you know, are dealing with stressors that none of us probably ever thought about, experienced. There are so many things going on. I read a New York Times report recently that was talking about the absolute correlation between increased social media use and decrease in mental health among teens and young adults. And it's not surprising. It's devastating, though, and one of the things that we have an opportunity to do, I think, through Rotary is in all of our youth services programs, in all the ways that we work with young people, whether it's an informal kind of thing that we're doing or whether it's through our Interact, our Youth Exchange, our RILA, all of those are possibilities for us to include mental health programs. So for an Interact Club, to include a program about what positive mental health looks like, to include practices like mindfulness, all of those things are possibilities. Another thing that I would encourage all of you to look for, and I found this through my county mental health department, is mental health first aid. In fact, next Thursday, I'm going to be at home doing my online mental health first aid class. It's a free class, at least in my county it is, and what mental health first aid is all about is helping those of us who are not mental health professionals be able to ask the right questions to get someone talking, to learn to be active and good listeners so that we let them continue to talk as they need to, and then giving us tools to know how to get those people the help that they need if they are in crisis or if they need further than just a good listening ear. So I encourage you to find those mental health first aid classes. There are some that are just general for adults, some that are specific to teens and youth, some that are specific to people going through grief, veterans, seniors. All of those are possibilities. So I encourage you to find those mental health first aid classes and take advantage of the opportunities we have. I think that our mental health departments in our counties are doing good work. We just need to be part of that good work. I want to tell you a quick story about RILA. RILA is the thing I know the most about. Now, this past summer, we did include a mental health component in our curriculum. We hadn't done that before, specifically, but we wanted to make sure, because we know these are the young leaders when they go back to their school campuses, to their Interact clubs, to their church youth groups, to their sports teams. These are the students, first of all, that the others are looking to for role models. So to give these students tools for their own positive mental health is a priority. Then we also know that when students are looking for someone to talk to, these are some of the people they're going to come talk to. And we want to give them some tools so they know what to do when someone comes to talk to them and they are going through a mental health crisis. And then finally, we know that these are also students, because they are leaders, they are in a position to see when there's a change in behavior, when they can see that something's going on with another student in their sphere, they can go to them, ask them, how are you really? What's going on in your life? I'm here for you. Let me know what I can do. How can I help you? And then get them connected with the kind of help they may need. We didn't want to let another year go by without giving those tools to those students. I want to tell you real quickly about one of our RILA success stories. 8 years ago, in 2015, we had a camper named David Dominguez. He was sponsored by the Western Fort Worth Club out of Arlington Heights High School. His campus counselor had identified him as a potential leader and just told him, I'm sending you to this leadership camp. Rotary's going to pay for it. You don't have to worry about that. Just be ready. They're going to pick you up and take you, and then they'll bring you home when it's over. That's all he knew. So he went, he was ready. He was a little leery, but he was ready. He soaked it up, let me tell you. And he was invited back the next year to be a Rylarian counselor. That's a weird name for a former camper counselor who is paired with a Rotarian with a family group, about 10 students. I was that Rotarian who was paired with David that second year, 2016, when he came back. And he came back with the idea that he was committed to ensuring that all of the students in our family group would have the same kind of life-changing experience that he had had when he came to RILA. And he did it. Let me tell you, he was one of the best Rylarian counselors I've ever seen. David has been invited back to our RILA 5790 every year since, and he's been a Rylarian counselor, Rotarian counselor, because after he graduated college, he joined Alamo Ranch Rotary in San Antonio. Even though he lives in San Antonio, he comes back to District 5790 every summer to be part of RILA because it made such a difference in his life. And these last 3 years, David has been on RILA staff, helping shape the curriculum, helping lead activities, and then also this last few months, he's been helping lead a charge to help us find our next location for RILA. So looking around our district at all the possibilities, all the places we could possibly go, and helping make a difference in the lives of future generations of Rylarians as well. So I tell you that to tell you that youth services in Rotary impacts lives, it bears fruit. So thank you for all that you do to support our youth through formal Rotary programs and elsewhere. So thank you for that. One other initiative that Gordon identified that he's continuing this year for the third year now is empowering girls and women. And it's just a way for you to think about how you can support it. I was so appreciative to see that the grant for the STEM kits. That was amazing. I'm so glad that you're doing that. So that's one example of how you can do that right here in your own backyard. You also know from hearing the news, from reading about what's going on around the world, that there are places in the world where girls and women do not have opportunities to know that in the future they can be successful, they can choose their own path, they can rear families knowing that the world is a safe place to rear those families, or that there's a sustainable economy for them. All of those are possibilities for us to be involved globally as well. So I appreciate your support of that as well. A few years ago, Rotary announced the action plan, and this is where they introduced our vision statement that you may have heard. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And they gave us this framework of 4 strategic priorities that we can use to kind of shape what we do and how we choose to move forward as Rotarians. So the first one is increase our impact, and that's just a way, I think, for us to consider what we do and where we place our resources, our time, and our energy. Our needs that we're meeting today and have been doing for a while, is that still meeting the need? Is that need still the same, or is there a better way to approach it? Has it changed a little bit? Is there a need in this community that no one is stepping up to meet? And is this Rotary Club the perfect vehicle to do that? Expand our reach is a way to think about who's not in Rotary that ought to be, and it sounds like you all are doing a great job of that. 6 people in the line to come in, that's amazing. And I know that you all are bringing in new people all the time, so thank you for that. But think about the new experiences, the new strengths and skills that come in every time we add a new member to our club. It just makes us better. Enhanced participant engagement is just that reminder to make sure that everyone who does join finds their place to belong. Now, if you've been a member for a while and you don't feel like you have a place to belong in this club, talk to somebody, because you need that place. There's a phrase I've been hearing that I think next year's President Stephanie Urchek loves to share. It's the family of Rotary. And thinking about how all of us feel like we are part of a family because we are going the same direction. We are all people with that servant's heart. And then finally, increase our ability to adapt. I think another way to think about that is, again, considering all the people who come in. We all have different backgrounds, different perspectives, so that when obstacles come our way, when we have problems to solve, we have lots of possibilities, lots of brains feeding into helping us do that. The Rotary Foundation is Rotary's charitable giving arm, and I appreciate all of the contributions that you all have made over the past several years. I know that next year, coming up when it's district grant time, I think you all have somewhere around $7,000. That's not a huge amount in the grand scheme of things, but it sure would help. $7,000 for local grants, $7,000 for global grants, just based on your past giving. One other thing I want to mention about the Rotary Foundation, you may have seen this come across your email, but for the 15th year in a row, the Rotary Foundation has been named a 4-star Charity Navigator nonprofit. And that just means that for all those years, when we give to the Rotary Foundation, that money is going to the causes that the Rotary Foundation supports. It is not going to line anybody's pockets or build a new building or do anything like that. We are doing what we say we will do. What I want to tell you about now is what happens to the rest of the money when you give to the Rotary Foundation. What doesn't come back to the district? So a few years ago, Rotary launched a Programs of Scale project, and they invited proposals from large-scale thinkers to address problems that an individual club or even an individual district could not take care of on their own. So the first one that was approved was Malaria-Free Zambia. And this project was, the purpose was to reduce malaria in Zambia by 90%. And the way these programs of scale always work is the Rotary Foundation, in partnership with at least 2 other nonprofit partners, each put in $2 million and commit 3 to 5 years as a pilot. Well, this 3 years is up, and this has been so successful in Zambia that the Rotary Foundation, World Vision, and the Gates Foundation, who are the 3 major partners in this project, have expanded it to call it Together for Healthy Communities in Africa. It is now expanded to 4 more countries and is using all of the resources of those 3 organizations, plus each of them have committed an extra $10 million to this work, and another 3 to 5 years to see how it goes. We have 2 other programs of scale in the works right now, and over the next year or 2, we'll be hearing more about them. Another way that we can give to the Rotary Foundation is through our earmarked money, and we can give to any of our specific areas of focus. Disaster aid is another area that we can earmark money for to give to the Rotary Foundation. And just a few of the projects they have worked on over the last year and a half or so: humanitarian aid to Ukraine and responding to the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Finally, just recently, I think you may have seen, probably 6 weeks ago, the earthquakes in Morocco. The Rotary Foundation is responding to that as well. So if you'd like to send money specifically for that project, you are welcome to do that. We also, have you all had Bruce Schultz here to talk about disaster aid here? Look, okay, I thought he had been here. Thank you for all that the ways you're supporting that, and he is excited about having a team he can call on. Okay, never mind. All right. You'll hear more about that later. The other part of what the Rotary Foundation is doing that is making a huge impact around the world is our polio eradication efforts. And this has been going on since the late 1980s, and we have reduced polio by 99.9%. This year, as of Monday, when I checked last, we have had 11 cases of wild poliovirus in 2023. Last year, I believe there were 23 total for the year. So if we can go one more month, we will have reduced by half from last year's total to this. They are in a specific region in that northern mountainous part on the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. There's one village in Pakistan, one little region in Afghanistan. We have been able this year to get some vaccination teams into those areas. It's difficult politically, militarily, geographically, all of those things, but we are making progress. And the World Health Organization is estimating that by the end of 2026, they will be able to pronounce the world polio-free. But only, yes, but only through our continuing efforts, because we know that we still need to continue our vaccination efforts and our education efforts throughout the developing world. So Rotary has committed another $50 million this year and next year to continue that work, matched 2-to-1 by the Gates Foundation, so a total of $300 million we have committed to continue this work. Thank you for your part in supporting our polio eradication efforts. Okay, just a few announcements about things that are coming up in the district. Rotary Leadership Institute is coming up January, and then again in February. We'll have various parts. This is kind of a big picture. What is Rotary and what does it do? And I think it's a great tool for anyone who is interested in district leadership, in club leadership, or if you just want to learn more about Rotary and get to spend the day with some really fun Rotary people. This is an opportunity. I believe that registration is available for that January date, so Rotary5790.org is the place to go. Coming up February 29th through March 3rd is our President-elect training. So President-elect, President nominee, put these dates on your calendar, please, DFW Hyatt. And then next spring, we usually have 2 spring events in our district. District Assembly, which is the club leadership training for people who will take office July 1st, and District Conference, which is the celebration of what we've done this year. We're combining those 2 into a 2-day, April 26th, 27th event where we will do both of those things. We will celebrate, we will have training, and we will just get to be with each other and learn more about what we are all doing across the district. One of the things that will be available that day is sharing what you have been doing in your clubs. So be thinking as you are at work this year about which program you want to share, what's unique, what's particularly impactful that you want to share with others in the district. And then finally, if you like to meet Rotarians and you like to travel, the Singapore Rotary International Convention, Jeff and I are going, Kirk is going, I don't know who else, anybody? Not Kirk, sorry, Rebecca. The next person.
I'll go.
You're welcome to go. You know, it's available. $500 per person is registration. That does not include your airfare or your hotel, but it is available. Please consider the opportunity. It is a unique opportunity to meet with Rotarians to find out what's going on across Rotary International. Okay, I'm going to just close with this. My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Thank you very much for what you do for Rotary. Thank you for letting me come talk to you today, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you very much, District Governor. As you know how this goes. We have a big commitment to eradicating polio. In honor of your presentation today, our club has made a donation to the Rotary Plus Fund, Rotary Polio Plus Fund, and this is a memento of that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So she kind of, you don't have to. So she kind of let the cat out of the bag.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, but while you're up here, we can talk about that. So as she stated it earlier about the Rotary International, the foundation stuff, we have two funds that when we contribute to Rotary International, almost all of the programs are qualify for this. We get money kicked back to the club 3 years later. It's something right around, 47-ish%, just a little under 50% of that money. So we got some money back from Rotary during my presidency in two funds, the Global Grant Fund and the Designated District Funds. Remember a few weeks ago, we had Bruce Schultz come in and talk about the disaster relief team at the district level and their needs are building out a box to take to the tornadoes and stuff like that. Well, your board, thank you, Derek Moffett, wherever you are, right over here. So Derek, at a board meeting recently, said, why don't we, it was right after Bruce came, he said, I make a motion that we go ahead and just give our district funds to Bruce's effort. It was unanimous. We voted on it. I went ahead and submitted the paperwork. We got approved last week to do that through Rotary District. The check from them is on the way. We have to match that fund, and in a few weeks, I'll bring Bruce up, and we're going to make that presentation to him on behalf of our club. So, great stuff, and it's your efforts, your monies that are going towards this to do good stuff in our community. Thank you very much. All right, I have a few announcements real quick, and then we will go ahead and close. So first of all, we have at Rotary Plaza, it's down on Forest Park, beautiful place. There's a bridge right across the Trinity River. On this side of the river, 10 a.m., we should be an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We're planting daffodils, and we sure could use all the volunteers to come out because many hands make for light work, right? If you have a battery electric drill, you know, the one with you don't have to have a plug, with a 2-inch auger bit, we could use those too, because those make planting daffodil bulbs real easy. But bring your gardening gloves, bring your gardening tools. Hope to see several of y'all out there, as many as we can get, because like I said, light hands, we get out of there early. Dues, your dues are due. That's why they call them dues, right? Check is preferred because as we talked about last week, you can do it online. However, the club incurs the processing fee, and if you give a check, there's no fee, and our monies can go towards more useful things like disaster relief boxes, et cetera. Board of Directors, elections, December 7th is the cutoff. Need all the participants we can on that, please. It takes 5 minutes. Get online, vote for the ones that you want to serve on the board next year. We really want a lot of participation in this. Let your voice be heard. Rodeo tickets, you got that up, Tom? There's a QR code right there. It's also in the rotograph. It's $100 a person to go to the Rotary Rodeo Night. And there's all kinds of cool stuff, like we get free food, We got a cash bar. We're going to be at the museum, fun stuff, and then we all go over to the rodeo and watch a really good show after that. Should be a great night, good fellowship. Also, next week, last but not least, a new era of Tarrant County. These are the big hitters. It's a triple hit program. We got Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare, Sheriff Bill Wayburn, Tarrant County District Attorney, the new one, Phil Sorrells, and hope to see y'all then. Until then, I hope every one of you have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. One last thing. Got a board of directors meeting right after the program at 1:15 in the president's room, right? Or wherever Aurora is, right. Okay, President's Conference Room, 11th floor. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Hey, anyone who wants to come up and get in this group photo with the district governor, come on up.